welcome to With Wellner Anderson. Today we're going to talk about what really is cryptocurrency and why you need to know. If you watch this entire 3-part video, you should have a good high-level understanding of what cryptocurrency is and what blockchain is. I am not going to cover ICOs. Those are a different subject matter. I'm going to try to explain to you in plain English what cryptocurrency is and why you need to know. Part 1 will be today. Part 2 will be a follow-up to it. And part 3 will be why you need to know. Briefly, let's talk about what currency is. Currency is soft dollars. It's called fiat money, which means that basically it's paper money that you have to accept. It's used for legal tender, which means that it's the money you use to pay your taxes. Money is a little bit different. Money is hard currency, like gold and silver. Something that doesn't depreciate in value, or something that's not factored by many over the commodity money. Basically, currency is a claim check on commodity money. Commodity money could be gold. They've used tulips, silver, tobacco in prisons, whiskey, cigarettes, gems, and all types of things like that. The characteristics of money is that it has to be durable, so you can't use fruit, you can't use fish, you can't use cows or wheat. They're not durable. Money has to be portable, which means that coins, paper money, crypto money, digital money, and checks are money, or at least portable, I should say. Divisible. You can break it up into smaller amounts and perform transactions that way. Money must be scarce, like gold, silver, even Bitcoin and diamonds. But the most important thing about money is that it has to be a store of wealth. It has to be fungible, which fungible means that it has to be the same. A $5 bill is a $5 bill. That's what I mean by being fungible. But the key thing is that it has to be something that's equally exchangeable. Now I have a $10 bill in my hand. What I'm going to do with this $10 bill is I'm going to hand this to my son. Okay? $10 bill. Okay? That $10 bill has been time-stamped by the internet and time-stamped by Unix. You've all witnessed me give him $10. So on all your ledgers or on all your computers, if you care to, you could copy this as proof that I gave him $10. Now, if I come back an hour from now and say I gave him $100, I would not be truthful. You could see by the transactions on your computer the time, the amount of money, and the transaction. So what I'm getting to is that you have just been given the validity that the transaction has occurred. I cannot come back and say it didn't happen for $10. What that is how Bitcoin works. It's a distributed network. So everybody in a network has a record or a ledger of that transaction, which means that basically I cannot come back and say that that didn't exist. Bitcoin registries are decentralized, which means there's no single point of failure. They're peer-to-peer, which means everybody has an equal opportunity at getting to the network. However, Bitcoin, and I'm using that interchangeable with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, because of its nature and the amount of machines involved, it's very slow. And you can't use Bitcoin really for everyday transactions. The other thing that Bitcoin has is immutable. What immutable means is that you just saw me give him $10, which means if you all stored it on your computer, I cannot change that. I cannot change what's on your computer, but I can append it. What I mean is I could send another block out, which would say, well, this is another transaction, but I can't change that. Bitcoin networks are permissionable or non-permissionable. What I mean by a permissionable network is that it's a network where everybody is a closed network. It's like a banking network. There's also permissionless networks, which is how basically all Bitcoin networks operate today. I mentioned scarcity. In Bitcoin, there is scarcity because over time there's lesser and lesser Bitcoins produced. Don't ever forget about supply and demand. If there's a lot of something, it's usually worth less. If there's scarcity, it's worth more. Bitcoin uses mining. That's how you get enough, that's how you generate enough activity to compete for getting for sending out the block. They also use proof of work, which means that you have to invest some money into equipment and ASICs and energy to bid on the network. Also, despite what you hear, they know their customer. If you're going to get a Bitcoin from someone who doesn't ask about you, I would beware, because it's probably some type of a game. But there's no central intermediary. Like in a bank, you have to go to a central site. And that's how they do the clearance. Everyone points up to a central site. The final thing, one of the final things is that there's immediate settlement. In other words, you don't have to wait time before something sells. It sells because the ledger is amongst many systems. There's no single point of failure, as I said. It's almost like a cash transaction. If you didn't really get this, I suggest you go back again and look at my video on what really is money. That will help you get through this. So we're now at the second phase. What I just told you about was the Bitcoin network. You also learned a little bit about blockchain. And I think that's of real interest, and we're going to discuss that our next video. Please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up. I can use your help, and I'll see you next time.